So today, I am a man on a mission to take just one single photo. Let me give you some context. So it all started about a week ago. I was going through my Flickr account, just replying to some messages, clearing some notifications, when I came across an old photo of mine, a photo that I remember taking quite vividly. I remember the whole experience of it quite vividly. And one thing I do remember about taking that photo is that it didn't turn out how I pictured it in my mind. And the reason it didn't turn out how I envisioned it in my mind wasn't down to the limitations of the equipment I was using. I was using a Panasonic LX7, which is just a standard, I say a standard, it's a point and shoot with manual settings. Yeah, it wasn't down to the limitations of that equipment, it was more the limitations of my own knowledge, my lack of experience at the time. This photo was taken a month after I first picked up a camera for the intention of actually learning photography. And now 2.5 years later, the actual reason for this vlog is because I want to go and do a second take of that photo. And the conditions today are perfect. There's a lovely clear sky, and well, this is UK, things could change, but at the moment it's nice and clear. The original photo was taken during spring, and it's autumn now. So there's going to be probably less light. The sun is lower in the sky this time of year, and the sun's going to set a bit quicker and a bit sooner, so there's that to account for. And other than that, really, there shouldn't really be too many differences. Maybe some colourful leaves, which would be nice. It'll add more character to the photo. So let me actually show you the photo in question, the photo which has instigated this vlog. So this is the photo. I named it Sunset at Point Hill, and it's in a place called Greenwich. It's about 20 minutes, half an hour from where I live. So with this photo, I've got the benches pretty much where I want them in the frame. But what I wanted to do as well is those tiny buildings off into the distance. I wanted to bring them forward so I could see them a lot more than they could fill the frame, while still keeping the benches pretty much where they are in the frame. And you can see here, like I mentioned, the camera I was using was the Panasonic LX7. And going through some of the settings, you can see here an aperture value of 8 on a sensor which is 5 times smaller than a 35mm full frame sensor, so essentially 5 times crop. With this f8 aperture, you're going to pretty much get everything in focus. The problem lies here, 4.7mm focal length, and if you times that again by 5 to make it the 35mm full frame equivalent, you're looking at about 24mm. Now that is the widest that the LX7 shoots at, and that is the primary reason why those buildings are so small and far off into the distance, and why the image didn't fit what I had in my mind. So you can see my editing skills back then, they left a lot to be desired, as the vibrance, the saturation and clarity slider were all my best friends. I mean, you can see all the haloing around this tree here, and all this unnatural pumped up saturation in the sky. I'm not saying using the clarity, the vibrance or saturation slider like there's no tomorrow is a bad thing, but it's just not really my taste now when editing photos. Something else I didn't really notice at the time as well, this blown out section of the sky, this 70% of the sky that's got absolutely no information. This was somewhat down to editing, but more to do with the fact I had no idea what dynamic range was, or what exposure stacking was to make up for the lack of dynamic range, and it's just left this part of the sky with absolutely no information. But I don't remember at the time really paying much attention to that, and I'm guessing it says a lot about how my editing and my photography has developed. Right, so just a few more things now before I shoot off to the location. So I normally refer to a few websites when I'm planning a shoot outside like today. This website, golden-hour, pretty much speaks for itself really. It lets you know when the golden hour is going to be, and it also lets you know down here just how high the sun's going to be in the sky. So as you can see, again, this time of year it's not that high. Another website I like to use is called SunCalc, and the links to all of these websites will be down in the video description below. So this I've already got set out where I'm going to go today, and this one gives you a good visual representation of the direction of the sun. And just by grabbing this slider at the top, you can see where the sun's going to be positioned at any given time of the day. So there being sunrise and the red marker to the left being sunset. Websites like these, they're not hugely helpful when you've got nothing but a complete overcast sky outside. But again, like I said, today's pretty clear, which allows us to make the most out of these websites. So now there's nothing left to do but take the photo. One thing I did forget to mention is that I would prefer to take today's photo with the same camera that I used to take the original, but I searched high and low, every single drawer, and I just couldn't for the life of me find the battery charger. And if any of the 3 batteries that I have for that camera had just 10% of juice in it, it would have been plenty enough for me to take the photo today, but I haven't got it, I can't use it. I am going to be using my 700D, and I suppose in 2.5 years time not only comes new knowledge and new experience, but a new camera, so I'm just going to use that one.
The raindrops and the wind and the snow, it's like they're so far away, still it feels so close, but I'm pretty sure we never gonna know. Ghost.
So that took a lot longer than I thought it was going to take. There was so much traffic. Oh, it's amazing. It's even better than I remembered it. Do you know what? I don't think I've been here since taking that photo. I don't think I have. If you want a good vantage point, if you want a good place to watch the sunset in London, come to this point, Point Hill in Greenwich. Oh man, it's beautiful. Okay, we haven't got much time because of how long it took me to get here, so I'm going to start setting up now and yeah, see what we can get. Right, so this, as you can see in the bottom left hand corner there, this is more or less the setup that I went for last time. I went very wide. At the moment I'm more or less at the same. I'm at about 18mm, which equates to more or less the same of what I shot with the LX7. You can't really see the buildings that much. The buildings are right far off into the distance. I can see the benches, but not really the buildings. So I'm going to back up, zoom in with my lens, and then see what we can get there. Right, so all I had to do was step back by about 20-25 meters. You can see that it's just completely transformed. Let me zoom all the way into 55mm. And what a difference that makes. That's just, I mean, look at how much it enhances the size of those buildings right off into the distance. Zooming into the bench and zooming into the background. And we've even got two people there. I'm guessing boyfriend and girlfriend watching the sunset, which to me, I actually quite like in the photo. So I'm hoping they stay there as long as possible. And also another thing that I worked out is that 55mm on a crop sensor camera like the 700D 1.6 times crop works out as the same equivalent as the maximum telephoto range on my Panasonic LX7 that I took the original photo with 2.5 years ago. So this is something that would definitely have been achievable with my LX7, this exact focal range. The only difference being, obviously, the quality of this 700D is going to be nicer, it's going to be sharper, it's going to have more dynamic range, but the actual idea, the whole composition of it, it would have been achievable. So there you go. It was a complete lack of knowledge at the time, not the camera's limitations. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I thought that coming here, I might have needed to take a bracket exposure because of the sky and all of the shadows down here, but it looks like I can pretty much get this in one shot. So I'm just going to tinker around with the camera settings, see what I can get with it. That is exactly what I wanted. 2.5 years later, and I've finally done it. I've made my visions a reality. So even though I've managed to achieve the task that I set out for myself today, it doesn't mean that I'm just going to pack my stuff up and leave. I'm going to make the most of it. I'm going to get my 55 to 250mm zoom lens out, and I'm going to see how much I can enhance all of those buildings in there in the background. This different perspective on the envisioned image that I had is just, I don't know if I prefer, I think I do prefer it. You'll have to let me know in the comments below which one you prefer, this one or the one that I took when I first came here today, but nonetheless, I think I've made the most of it. So here you can see, again, just zooming in even more to, it's about 140, 150mm. It's just brought those buildings even closer, and it adds so much more drama to it. And these guys there, they keep kissing, so I'm going to try and time it perfectly.